Teslas will now park themselves. The iPad steals features from ChromeOS, and your smart bra is not holding up. All that and more on Tech News Today.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today, episode 1425, recorded Monday, January 11th, 2016. This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by Wealthfront. Wealthfront is a low-cost, automated investment service that is the most sophisticated way for you to invest your money. Whether you've got millions or you're just starting out, visit wealthfront.com/TNT to sign up and get your free personalized investment portfolio. That's wealthfront.com/TNT.
And by the Ring Video Doorbell. With Ring, you can see and talk to anyone at your door from anywhere in the world using your smartphone. It's like caller ID for your house. Right now, get free expedited FedEx shipping when you go to ring.com/TNT.
And by NatureBox. NatureBox is dedicated to making smart, delicious snacking easy. They have over 100 ridiculously delicious snacks that get delivered directly to your doorstep. Visit naturebox.com/twit to get 50% off your first box.
Hello and welcome to Tech News Today. This is the show where we talk about the tech news with people who are passionate about the tech news. I am Megan Morrone.
And I am Jason Howell, and we are passionate about tech news today.
We are, yes. Yeah, I did another show right before this, iOS Today, and there's a lot of Apple news.
So you're like warmed up and stuff.
I'm warmed up. I'm ready to go. So yeah.
I'm cold.
Okay.
I mean, I've just been in our back office just like typing the whole time. So if that's enough to bring me close to tech, then I guess I'll be okay.
Yeah, I think it is enough.
I know. We'll see. I certainly hope so. I want to welcome to the show Selena Larson of The Daily Dot. How's it going, Selena?
Hi, it's going really well. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's our honor to have you on the show. Of course, you've been on plenty of times, but tell people a little bit about The Daily Dot and kind of the work you do.
Yeah, so I'm a tech writer for The Daily Dot, dailydot.com. I cover internet culture, consumer technology, a lot of tech culture, diversity stuff, and social media.
Fantastic. I think you'll fit right in. We do that too, kind of.
We try to. All right, well, let's get started.
Let's do it.
So the Detroit Auto Show starts this week, so we hope to have a fleet of autonomous car news to share with you. The first announcement today comes from Tesla. It's definitely a good news, bad news situation about their new over-the-air update. The good news is that over the weekend, owners of the luxury car now have access to Summon. That's a feature that will allow drivers to park their cars autonomously, even when they're not inside them. The Tesla blog says eventually your Tesla will be able to drive anywhere across the country to meet you, charging itself along the way. Now, of course, they are recommending that you try it first in the privacy of your own property, and then eventually try it on, what could possibly go wrong here?
I like the fact that it's called Summon. For some reason, that just reminds me of like a genie in the bottle or something like that. And, Tesla's kind of otherworldly in so many ways, so that kind of fits.
Yes. Well, so there's also the bad news of this. The update also removed some of the autopilot features that Tesla released last year. Now in autopilot, you can drive no more than 6 miles per hour faster than the posted speed limit. So they were having some issues, especially in our culture where people want to record themselves and then put it on YouTube to see them driving like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, Selena, what do you think about these new features, the Summon? What do you think could possibly go wrong with this?
Yeah, I saw some of those videos of people kind of testing out the hands-free or in the back seat of their Tesla, checking things out a little bit. It seems to me a little bit dangerous, but at the same time, I think it's really exciting. I've never lived in a place where there's snow, but I imagine the car just like coming to pick me up without me having to like go very far to like walk to my vehicle or, try to get there. I think that would be really exciting. And honestly, I personally am not a great driver or enjoy driving. So autonomous vehicles really excite me a lot because I think it would be really exciting to kind of just like step into a car and have it take me where I need to be. Especially if it's even if it's just like coming to collect me before we head off on an adventure. I think It seems pretty cool.
That's what we need, like an autonomous designated driver. That would be really, really handy. One of the features that is not releasing immediately, but that Tesla has said will come eventually, is that you could sync your car to the owner's calendar so that it could automatically arrive when it needs to. Kind of unnecessary, I suppose, or maybe it's not unnecessary to the caliber of people that are buying a Tesla, but still very cool.
So. Yeah, I mean, I'm like you. I don't love driving. I am horrible at parking, and so I am excited about a car that would park for me. But I think I'm more in the range of the Bolt price range for now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
So it's a 6.2 mile limit.
Above the speed limit. So
is that above the speed limit?
Yes.
I thought that was like distance or something when I was reading it. I was like, wait, so you can only drive 6.2 miles before, like, what, the auto drive goes off or something?
No, I misread that at first. The autopilot, I think, when I read it first, I was like, oh, autopilot will only go 6.2 miles. But it won't let you go if you're going faster than 6.2 miles higher than the speed limit.
Oh,
so
okay.
if the speed
that
limit
makes
is
sense.
55 and you're going 1.2
I think I always kind of used that as my rule of thumb when driving anyways. Like, 5 over the speed limit's about where I'm going to push it comfortably and not feel like I'm going to be pulled over for whatever reason. Anyways, cool stuff. Wall Street Journal reports that a new, smaller version of Amazon's breakout hit voice-controlled speaker, the Echo, as you may have heard of it referred to, will be announced for release in the coming weeks. The original Echo has received around 30,000 reviews with a 4.5 out of 5-star rating to date on Amazon, so it's kind of a big deal. Follow-up makes a ton of sense. I guess it's codenamed Fox, and it's designed to fit in the palm of your hand. Kind of like, like a can, like a beer or soda can. So it's going to be pretty small. But you have an Echo, of course. I would love to have one, but I don't. But you do.
I have an Echo. I've had it. Yeah, I got it pretty early on. I ordered it last January, and then it came, sometime in the middle of the year. You had to wait for it. I love it. I use it to answer questions. I don't do a lot of the automated stuff. Like I don't have it connected to my lights or anything. But I do use it to listen to music. You can listen to Pandora. You can thumbs up songs, and I've done the 7-minute workout as I've talked about on this show. On there, it'll walk you through it. So yeah, I like it. How about you, Selena?
One of the things that I like about the new one that's coming out is that it doesn't automatically, it's not consistently listening to you. So you have to press a button in order to have the commands work. To me, the idea of Amazon Echo just consistently listening to you at all times, I understand that it needs to, so you can activate it by voice. But at the same time, if the report in the journal is correct and it will have the button feature in order to activate it, I think I'd be a little bit more inclined to test it out. I don't have an Echo, but again, it's in large part because of that sort of always-on factor there.
Yeah, that's a big change. Like I missed that in that part of the report. That really changes kind of, I think, at least for a certain demographic, that changes the appeal of the device, just having it be this always-on assistant over in the corner, ready for your command without having to like go over there with intent and actually act on it in order to do so. Yeah, and maybe that's part of the reason why. Like there is a certain segment like yourself, Selena, that would not consider the current Echo because of that. So this is their way of kind of giving you an obvious point of control over it, as to take control, I guess.
Well, taking it wherever you go is really helpful to me because it's so much better than Siri. I think it's better than Google Now. I don't use Google Now so much right now, so maybe it's not. But I definitely think it's better than Siri and does more. So so that is interesting to me that you could take it places, because that's the one thing you can't, take, Alexa around and plug her in places. So that is
But Siri and Google Now are just kind of there in your pocket already.
Right. Yeah. So I would like
it takes
this.
a little bit more intention.
Yeah. And I tried to order another Echo recently, about a week ago, and I looked and it's like, oh, it should have arrived by now. I have Prime. And then I realized they're back ordered. So that's interesting too, that you can't get the Echo right now. It's like back ordered till the end of the month.
Real quick before we go on, so you bought an Echo last January, so a year ago.
So
was that before you started at Twit?
No, it was right after I started.
It was right after you started.
Yeah.
So was it kind of like, Wow, this is a new piece of technology. I'm curious.
Yes, I need to catch up, and that's the thing. And
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
back then
okay.
it was
Hey,
it was
that's a good one to
cheaper.
catch up with.
Yeah, it was with a Prime. It was only $99.
Yeah.
back then.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
They had that
it's now
really screaming
$200.
deal.
So yeah, I don't know that I would pay $200. Well, I was going to, but as a gift. But don't tell. The beta testers and insiders now have access to iOS 9.3, which will offer some interesting new features when it comes to the rest of us. Night shift automatically shifts the color of the display after sunset to be warmer and easier on the eyes. A lot of users have asked for that. Multi-user mode will help in schools where several students share the same iPad. Now this will make iPads more on par to the cheaper and what I believe personally more useful in schools, Chromebooks. Just because I like Chromebooks better than iPads. My kids they live in Petaluma. It's one-to-one iPads, and they used to use Chromebooks. And I definitely prefer the iPads, especially when the kids get older, because iPads, they don't have keyboards, and so they're just missing out a lot on that. So I don't know. What do you think about this, Jay?
Well, I mean, I'm a ChromeOS user. I've got the Chromebook Pixel right here. I love it. I think it's perfect for education as far as that's concerned. In comparison. I didn't realize that it was iPad over Chromebooks. I've seen a lot of Chromebooks in the schools, and I know that iPads, I mean, I guess, how much control do you have over an iPad in a school environment from using that iPad for the other things that probably most students actually want to use them for, as opposed to like school stuff?
Not very much.
Yeah,
and,
that's probably a big part of the problem.
So they
right
they hand it over and they say the kids can't download and install anything. There's just they can get we push things to them. They have an app that they can get the things that the schools have decided that they want kids to download. And it took my 12-year-old and 10-year-olds maybe like a month to figure out easily how to get around that. I mean, it is so easy. They're just like, here's what you do. You have to log into your own, iTunes account, and then you install this, and they have the steps. It's like, this is how you do it. And I think the teachers already know this too. So yeah, it's not hard to get around it. The
Sure.
difference with an iPad and a Chromebook is that a Chromebook, I mean, you could install the difference between iPads, Chromebooks, and the Windows laptops that they had before. That's huge, because that was the problem with the Windows laptops. You could install anything and it could be, malicious. And so now with the Chromebooks, they know exactly what they're installing. So it's you log in with your Chrome ID.
Yeah, it's like a sandboxed off browser.
Yeah, and nothing.
Browser environment.
Yeah,
That's
nothing
all it
is on the machine itself, so you're not getting malicious software on there. And you would hope with the with the Apple iTunes Store that you're also not getting malware as much.
Chrome OS user, Selena?
I'm not, no. What I think is really interesting about the new Apple OS is that the Flex, because I know that it was really hard. You couldn't get it unless it was jailbroken, and Apple was a little bit, strong-arming them here and there about not developing it and having an iOS app. So the fact that they're taking the, night mode and...
Night shift. Isn't it night shift?
Night shift.
There you go.
Night shift.
Putting night shift directly into the device is pretty interesting. I mean, I have Flux on my laptop right now, and it really helps, especially when you're late at night on your computer, kind of dimming the blue light. I really appreciate that feature, so I'm pretty excited for it to come to my built-in on my iPhone.
I do think, parts of iOS 9.3 though really do seem to kind of mimic the things that I really like about Chrome OS in a school environment. Like you said, the roaming profile, and that actually, follows them between devices, students. So if they use one iPad and then move to another one and then move to another one, that profile is going to follow them around. Also, data is cached to the device for repeat users on a particular piece of hardware. So if you use the same iPad multiple times, even though you're a user and you log in, that data is going to be cached there. You're not going to be waiting all day for it to load.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is really useful, because I think what Apple's doing is, because a lot of people who are in charge of technology at schools, like, it's by committee, and they think, oh, well, I know iPads, my kids know iPads, we should get everyone an iPad, because they're just not familiar with Chrome, when Chrome has these very specific things that are better for schools. And now what Apple is doing is like, well, why don't we try to add these very specific things? Because everyone would like multi-user support on iOS, I think, but they're not doing that for regular people. They're just doing it for school. So right now, like Apple has said in iOS 9.3, you're not going to have multi-user support in your regular iPad. It's just for school.
So strange, but everyone wants it. And especially in a tablet environment, it's so useful.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why. So this also relates to another story today. This one was from the USA Today that it says Apple continues to fall behind in the education market, losing out to Google's ChromeOS. So, this isn't, everybody's not choosing iPads like Petaluma is. A report by market researcher Future Source Consulting says in the third quarter, Chromebook sales were 51% higher than Apple iPad sales. However, Microsoft is still on top, but they have 47% share of the K-12 market. So a lot of people are still using those old.
Worldwide,
I mean, I guess some people might be using Windows 10, but I'm guessing from the schools that I've been in, it's probably a lot of old Windows machines that are full of malware and
old versions of Internet Explorer that are about to get nagged to death.
Yes,
as we were talking about earlier this week. Cool. Well, I like seeing Chromebook kind of on the rise in the classroom because it's perfect. And there you go. Seems like a lot of other people do too. Apple News launched last September, and everyone's wondering how many people are reading it. Even Apple wants to know. According to Eddie Q, Apple's SVP of Internet Software and Services, the company has been miscalculating the number of users. No details were actually shared as to how exactly the error occurred. And this is kind of important, right? Because when it comes down to ad sales for the different publishers that are involved, and there's some big names, obviously, Time Inc., Vice Media, The Atlantic, Business Insider, New York Times, Washington Post. There's a number of them, right? When it comes to ad sales, if Apple is selling the ads themselves, they get 100%. If publishers themselves are selling the ad, that's 70% of the take that they get. And if they don't actually know the number of the users, that can really affect their ability to sell this content. What do you think about this, Selena?
I think it's kind of funny. I'm going to be completely honest. Just the fact that this is kind of an issue at all, and that Apple was incorrectly counting that. I mean, it's a huge. If they're undercounting, that could be huge for advertisers because they're missing out on, or publishers, because they're missing out on this huge chunk of eyeballs and could be potentially selling to advertisers. But at the same time, I mean, this was this whole experimental project that publishers and Apple News undertook together, and they kind of were like joining forces to say, hey, this is kind of this experimental news service. Let's test it out. Let's put all of our content already that we serve up on our websites on Apple News as well. So the fact that Apple kind of screwed up this bit a little bit by not accounting for it properly. And then also, too, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of information available as to how and why that happened. So hopefully it gets fixed pretty quickly, because I imagine publishers are a little bit irked by this.
I would imagine so, too. They don't know what the number is or, how far off it is, but Apple is certain that it's lower than reality. They don't know, yet they are certain. I'm assuming they have reason to say that, but I just thought that was kind of funny.
Well, yeah, they have reason to say it, like, hey, Apple News is here. Don't forget about us.
But we know it's more than what we've been telling you. We know that for certain, even though we have no idea what the number actually is. Let's see here. Shifting gears, HTC told The Telegraph that it will be taking pre-orders for the consumer release of its Vive virtual reality headset starting February 29th. For public release sometime in April, as we already knew that last part. Cher Wang, chief executive at HTC, also revealed that they are redirecting their focus away from smartphones. Quote, yes, smartphones are important, but to create a natural extension to other connected devices like wearables and virtual reality is more important. Interesting for a company that's had a lot of difficulty in the phone industry in the past couple of years to be shifting away. I actually don't think that that's a bad decision. That's actually probably very good here, considering that there's been a lot of really positive press about the HTC Vive. I know I'm looking forward to it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this a good move on HTC's part?
I'm not really following this story as much as I should. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I have a little bit of virtual reality fatigue.
Okay. All right.
I'm like, I want to see it. I want to touch it. I want someone else to see and touch it and tell me exactly how it works until I can really say.
Yeah, having the date was one thing, one part of this article. I thought the quote was just even more revealing, to be honest, just because I actually really do like HTC. I have fondness for HTC as a smartphone maker, which goes back years because I've had, some of their phones, some of their earlier Android phones, and I really like them. Back at a time when it was really hard to find very good Android phone devices like hardware, HTC was making really great hardware, and they've just been struggling so much the last couple of years. So I don't know. I think this is a good move. Focus where there's a little bit more differentiation in the smartphone world, especially in the world of Android. It's kind of hard to differentiate yourself these days, and they've proven time and time again that the more they try, it's just not resonating. And so I guess this is pretty smart.
I think the price point, though, is going to be a major component here because, I mean, obviously we have Oculus that came out that's like $600. You have the Sony headset, doesn't have a price yet. But I mean, this is kind of really the year that a lot of people estimated or projected that virtual reality was going to kind of come mainstream. But I think that the price is just going to be not super accessible for a lot of consumers who, you know, like Megan, for instance, is just, you know, she said, I'm getting a little bored of VR. Like, I want to play with it, but I don't really, you know, I'm not super sold on it. So, I mean, those kind of, those consumers that are kind of like on the edge of whether they're going to buy it or not. I'm not entirely sure, though, that this year is going to be the watershed moment for virtual reality because, I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say that all of the higher end headsets that are going to be coming out this year are going to be on the same level as Oculus in terms of price. And you look what Samsung did with their Gear, where they have, you know, the phone, it only works with the Samsung devices, which is, you know, kind of still a little bit of a walled garden in that aspect of things. So I think like HTC making virtual reality a little bit more accessible is kind of exciting, but at the same time, it's only accessible if people are willing to shell out, you know, and buy these headsets. Sure. And just based on my experience at CES, there's a ton of stuff out there that's beyond even like the major manufacturers. You have all these kind of upstarts that are really trying to dig in their heels and compete with these $600 headsets. But it's still, I think we're still not quite at the point where it's going to be this mainstream, everyone has VR quite yet.
Well, I think that a lot of people, I think Oculus is sort of trying to get its name out there so much. Like they want to be the Kleenex of VR. Like I feel like the Band-Aids and the Kleenex and everybody else, like, you know, Vive included, HTC included, is just like, but what about us? You know, think about us too. And so, yeah, it's like I need to see it to believe it. But right now it does sort of feel like to me, Oculus, in terms of, you know, the high-end non-smartphone VR, like they are the Kleenex at this point.
Yeah, I agree with that.
AT&T is bringing back unlimited wireless data plans, but only to subscribers of DirecTV or the Uverse TV service. So bad news for cord cutters. Now, some have compared this to T-Mobile's Binge On service that we talked about last week, but AT&T says their unlimited plan is different because it doesn't throttle any third-party services. So, you know, the related news that also came out, T-Mobile's John Legere apologized to the EFF today for cursing at them. He has not apologized to me yet. So there's a lot of
coming soon.
We talked about that yesterday. He just said, you know, who are you, EFF, and said it a little more colorfully. But there's interesting stuff in the story. To me, like, I've just been a cord cutter for so long, and it's so annoying because whenever I call, I have Comcast. Whenever I call to get my internet service cheaper, they're like, well, if you subscribe to TV, you could be cheaper. And it's just like, I don't want TV. Like, I haven't wanted TV for a dozen years, you know, and this is sort of the same thing. Well, you can get unlimited wireless if you also pay for TV.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What I'm happy to see at least is an unlimited where it actually is unlimited. Yeah. In the sense, you know what I mean? Like, so technically T-Mobile's unlimited is unlimited. You know, I'm on the $30 a month plan with T-Mobile, and it's unlimited data, but you hit 5 gigs and it throttles down to like 2G speeds or something. And I'm telling you, it's not good enough to use, especially when you're used to using Wi-Fi or 5G, like, or, you know, LTE connectivity speeds. Like, it's just not the same thing. And you end up wanting to throw your phone across the room. So you realize, okay, technically you were right, but pretty much you're putting up a wall, a barrier, and frustrating your users into ponying up for another month or whatever the case may be. So at least there's an unlimited that exists that actually means unlimited, and there isn't a little bit of fakery there. It does kind of suck that it's tied in with something else. I completely agree.
Yeah, I'm kind of same place, Megan. I think it's a little bit ridiculous that you're going to have to pay for that. And I mean, being a Comcast subscriber myself, I totally get we'll pay for cable and phone and like the package deals, and it can get really tiresome. So I think that kind of like nesting the two together was not, I don't know. I mean, personally, I wouldn't be willing to do that just simply because I am also a cord cutter and don't really have a use for it.
I'm afraid I'm afraid to become a cord cutter, but I know I need to. Help me.
What is
Can
it
you
on
guys help?
TV? What live TV do you need to watch?
No, it's not. It's not even that. Actually, you want to know what I'm afraid of more than anything? The call to Comcast that's going to take me however many hours, because I'm ready to do it. We are so ready to do it. We are going to do it. It's just I don't want to block off 2 hours of my day to do this.
You just say, I don't want it anymore.
I need to hire that company. There's that company that exists that will break up with Comcast.
Right, yeah, we talked about that, Selena. Yeah, you just need to, I'll call them for you.
Oh, okay. Hey, if you're willing to do it, great.
I am. I have no problem.
How they keep so many people is because they know that people just want to avoid it at all costs.
It's so frustrating. I'm just going to show up to the Comcast place with my hardware and just be like, here, I want a thing to sign, and I'll be done. And maybe that's the way to do it. Mm-hmm. Finally, Chinese phone maker Xiaomi continues to release high-quality design at super low cost. Today, the company announced the Redmi 3. It's a budget device, an all-metal body, a whopping 4,100 milliamp hour battery. That's crazy. And it's super thin as well, so I don't know how they did that. A price of 699 yuan, or around $105 when you do the conversion there. The previous version of this device, by the way, had a 2,200 milliamp hour battery. So this is doubling that. 4,100 is huge. I don't know. I love it. You know, I love the fact that there exists this world of Android devices that are low cost, but mid to high range kind of design and build. And the specs on the inside of this are pretty cool. Will we ever see this in the U.S.? Not unless you're willing to jump through many hoops. So there you go. But it will come to other markets. It's releasing right now to the Chinese market, and then probably going to broaden out to international markets as well beyond that.
Yeah, and I don't understand how they do it. You know, it's $100 phone that looks
cheap
like an
labor.
iPhone. Yeah,
that's how they do it. Cheap labor.
Yeah, I know. I almost bought, like, there was a knockoff GoPro camera that I was like, I think it was a knockoff.
I really like the word knockoff, though. I thought you were going somewhere with it.
No, it was a knockoff GoPro. It was a Chinese company. I don't think it was Xiaomi, because I think there was a way. I don't know. Tony was going to say, he said, just get this instead of getting GoPros for your kids. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't, because you don't really know where it comes from.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. I played around with a Xiaomi device, though. We actually have one here at the studio somewhere. I think it's the Mi 3, and yeah, it's really great design. So it's very interesting what you can get for very little cost with some of those manufacturers. All right, coming up, we're going to talk with Selena about a few interesting discoveries that she made while she was in Vegas for CES last week. Let's just say they're pretty revealing. But first, let's take a minute to thank the sponsor of this episode. That's Wealthfront. You know that you should be investing your money for the long term, for you or the family's financial health, and you've probably wondered how you should do it. Trying to do it yourself, especially in the right way, is complex, it's time-consuming, but luckily, there's Wealthfront. Traditional advisors charge huge fees, between 1% to 3% of what you've got under management, plus hidden fees for transactions and changes. Wealthfront makes it easy for anyone to access world-class long-term investment management. You can get started investing today at a minimum of $500. That's it. It only takes a few minutes to sign up for an account. You just go to wealthfront.com, and it goes right to work, monitoring your portfolios all around the clock, taking action as soon as the opportunity arises. Their seamless software actually optimizes your investments for the best risk-adjusted return, net of taxes and fees. We've heard from many TWIT fans who've actually used Wealthfront and love how they can diversify their portfolios and buy stocks from in-demand companies. Companies like Apple, Amazon, Facebook, all commission-free. Wealthfront is transparent and accessible. You can actually view all your accounts in one place, whether they're personal, joint, or retirement accounts. You can also see every trade that Wealthfront makes on your behalf in your dashboard on the desktop or inside their mobile app. Their sophisticated investment strategies like tax loss harvesting, direct indexing, they all optimize your after-tax returns while simultaneously lowering your tax bill. With Wealthfront, you pay 0.25% a year. That's 25 basis points, 0 commissions, and no hidden fees. And that's less than $5 a month to invest a $30,000 account. There are no additional charges for any of Wealthfront's services. Wealthfront manages over $2.6 billion in client assets and has grown over 20 times in the past 2 years. So what are you waiting for? Invest in your future today with Wealthfront. Visit wealthfront.com/TNT to sign up and get your free personalized investment portfolio. You'll see the customized allocation they recommend for your profile. And just for Twit listeners, if you sign up to invest, Wealthfront will manage your first $15,000 entirely free of charge for life. Join the many Twit fans who've seen huge success with Wealthfront and claim your offer today at wealthfront.com/TNT. Yeah.
So while CES was going on last week, we heard a lot of stories about the Genworth R70i exoskeleton. You got a chance to put this robotic exoskeleton on. Tell us what it's for and what you learned from it.
Yeah, so it was terrifying. Essentially, it's a life insurance company that wanted to simulate what it's like to get old. And so they built this exoskeleton robot with VR, AR, headset and audio cues, as well as little computers on the joints where it can modify how you move and put pressure on your body to restrict movement. And essentially, it's meant to simulate what it feels like to age. And let me tell you, not fun.
You are afraid, aren't you?
I am so afraid. Yes. I mean, that sounds really horrible to say, but I was having a little bit of an anxiety attack when I was in the suit because I'm very active. I'm a runner, and they put me on a treadmill. And if you check out the link on dailydot.com, there's a couple of videos on there that kind of show the full capacity of what the suit can do. So I'm on a treadmill and just, walking at my normal speed. And then they kind of amplify the pressure and it slows down my walking speed, and it felt very restricting and very scary to me as somebody who just is constantly moving and constantly relies on her body. This right here, the video that they're showing right now, is restricting my arm movements to simulate rheumatoid arthritis. Essentially, they were asking me to climb a rope and do those movements to see how it would feel. And you can see there, eventually, I just sort of gave up. Like, I couldn't lift my arm anymore. It was just like, I can't do this.
Oh, right, man.
Yeah.
I almost feel like claustrophobic thinking about putting myself into an outfit like that. I'm curious to know what the VR aspect of it is, because is it like down-resing your eyeballs or something, or what is that doing?
Yeah, so essentially it's obscuring your vision in a bunch of different ways. It simulates things like cataracts and glaucoma. And so you'll look through a virtual reality headset, just like you're looking at the audience, and then it'll, have a little gray spot come across your eyes or on your periphery. And I felt so bad because the presenter kept on asking me, can you imagine living like this? And I'm just like, no. Awful, no. But I'm sure there are probably people in the audience who either live like that or have experienced that kind of thing. And as I'm clearly the target market as a healthy millennial, completely not thinking of end of life care for myself or my loved ones at present moment, it was definitely kind of a wake up call as to like, wow, this is something that I look forward to, or like this is what it's like that I have to experience it. So it definitely it's really meant to sort of build up empathy and have people really focus and then think about that end of life care. And it worked for me, at least. I texted my mom immediately and I was like, hey mom, you'll never guess what happened. I feel so bad for ever being mean to you. It was a trippy experience, that's for sure.
Well, I will tell you, I ran the 15K in San Francisco this weekend. I'm 42. I know you are not. So I can just tell you, it hurts a lot in your hips and in your knees, and you get really tired. And when I was running, I looked a little bit like you in that suit with my arms going like this. So that's your future.
So exciting. Also, was it the hot chocolate 15K?
It was the hot chocolate, yes.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that race.
Yeah, it was fun. But the empathy part of VR is that is what I'm really fascinated with. I know the New York Times has tried that out also. They have the little Google Cardboard that they use, and they have stories where you are, with people that that are in very different situations that you are in, and that because I'm not a huge gamer, so that part of VR is really interesting. Its ability to create empathy, and like with Chris Milk and his films, that's the same thing. Like, and that part of VR is really interesting to me. But again, like I haven't, besides the small cardboard VR, I haven't really seen that much of that.
Yeah, so I've actually tried a couple of these experiences. One of the ones that I tried that kind of knocked me a little sideways was a schizophrenia simulation. It was using Oculus VR, and it took you through a schizophrenic episode. And it wasn't, I feel like the technology isn't quite where it needs to be in terms of being fully immersive with haptic technology and being able to block out the real life experiences. But even just that taste and that glimpse of what it's like being inside someone's head and hearing the voices that they hear and seeing things the way that they do through virtual reality was pretty, it definitely made me, have that empathy and that sympathy for people in these situations. And I think that that is what a lot of documentary filmmakers are doing, that especially this year, there was a number of people. I know Frontline's doing a ton of their documentary. Riot News as well is doing a lot of filmmaking in virtual reality. And that piece of it, like you were saying, Megan, as a non-gamer, that piece of it is really interesting to me too, especially since the more that I experience these, the more that I sort of begin to understand that they really can have an impact on the way that you think about the world.
So let's move on to another story that you covered. Signal. It's a smart shirt that tracks your workout. You met the creator last year at CES, and they had nothing for women. Now they do. Tell us about the Signal Smart Bra.
Yeah, so essentially, I revisited with the company because last year I was very disappointed, and this year they were showing me the new sports bra that they have is actually built. There are sensors within the bra beneath the breasts that wrap around the chest and the body, and you can see there's a little black box on the left side of the sports bra, just like right on the rib cage, and that's the Ohm box, and that has all of the tracking that you have. So you have your cardiovascular, your steps, your breathing. There's just a ton of biometric data that it collects, and it all feeds into the Ohm Signal app. So you can go work out and just wear the sports bra with the little Ohm box and connected to it. And at the end, you can kind of see how your workout went when you were working the hardest, when you were pushing yourself, when your breathing was a little bit erratic, and you can kind of tailor your workouts based on the biometric feedback. Additionally, Ohm Signal is launching a running app, which I'm actually pretty excited about. And they are now going to be providing a bunch of feedback based on this biometric data specifically for runners. So your oxygen, your stride, your distance, and you can compile all of that into an app, and you'll get feedback from trainers that they worked with to say, hey, this is right now, this is how you're breathing, this is how you could improve X number of breaths per stride, and things like that. So there was a couple things that they announced that I got particularly excited about. Obviously, a wearable for women was on the top of my list.
So how is this different than just something that, a strap that you can, the old heart rate monitors that just go around here anyway? Like I feel like the smart bra is kind of it was a marketing term in order to get a lot of attention because everyone's like, smart bra.
I've never heard of one of those.
Yeah, so it's the sensors itself, like you were saying, go exactly around the waist. They did a little bit of tailoring into the actual bra itself to make it more comfortable and more flexible and breathable than what you would see traditional sports bras on the market. One of the things that really appealed to me personally is a lot of the sports bras pull at the back of pull on your shoulders because they connect at the back in between your shoulder blades. Ohm did a thing where they sort of redesigned that to pull towards the side, so the pressure and the weight on your shoulders is dispersed throughout the bra a little bit more. They also have, some of the features are very similar to what high-end bras have right now: removable pads, adjustable straps and sizes. So for different times of the month, you might be feeling a different way and would like to change the position of your bra. The bra itself or the box is waterproof, so you can wear your bra and wash it, and it stays there, and you can keep up with keep wearing it and keep up with your fitness. The price point is about the same, I would say, as traditional sports bras. Once you buy the Ohm bra with the box, then you can buy more of the fabric and you can put it on different bras, and they're about the same as, say, more like higher end bras from Lululemon. So, but yeah, the sensors themselves and the textiles are definitely similar to the chest straps, which I don't know if you've ever worn one, are pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah, they can be uncomfortable. I totally agree. Like, yeah, exactly. We have one last story from CES. This is, we talked about all the drones, we talked about the wearables, the smart refrigerators, but you did a story on one of the undiscovered things going on at CES, the massive boom in dating app activity from the conference. Tell us about that.
So it was actually a story that I was considering going into the conference. I contacted Happen at the very beginning and I was like, hey, I don't know if you guys are going to be tracking this, but tell me about it. So I interviewed a couple of women at Sherry's Ranch, which is a legal brothel in just outside of Las Vegas. And they were explaining to me how CES is one of the most popular times of the year and their business increases about 70%. So I figured, well, if this brothel and activity is happening, there's bound to be other people looking for love and romance. So what I found by reaching out to Happen, they let me know that activity skyrocketed almost 200%. They had almost 200% more matches, between 100 and 200% of like their likes and their charms. And clearly people are really active on dating apps in Vegas.
I suppose it kind of makes sense to coincide with CES because you got a lot of people who are just kind of open to using technology for all sorts of things in one concentrated place. And it's Vegas. It's Vegas, so...
Yeah, Vegas is, renowned for fleeting romance. But you'll be standing in line and waiting for a taxi, and you'll just see people on Tinder and Hinge and Happen, dating and chatting with people. And last year I noticed this tremendously, and all of my friends were using Tinder, probably more than they were back in San Francisco. So it was kind of something that I wanted to investigate this year. Am I just imagining this? Like, does use increase exponentially? But it makes sense. There are 170,000 attendees and a bunch of, they're tech folks that use it anyway. So yeah, but it did. It definitely increases.
What happens on Tinder in Vegas stays on Tinder in Vegas? Is that how it goes? Something like that. Interesting stuff. Great articles. And I'm super excited to talk to someone that did the exoskeleton thing. Because when I saw that, I was like, I'm like equal parts fascinated and afraid of this suit. I know that I want to try it out, but I also know that I'd probably run away screaming. Hey, you can send an email to the show to be a part, tnt@twit.tv, like Tony from Oregon, who writes, after the Facebook app failed to load my news feed 3 or 4 times in just a few hours, a week or so ago, I removed the app and started using my browser for reliability. I used to have maybe 10 to 20% battery left at the end of the day, but now without the Facebook app, I've seen as much as 40 to 50% left at the end of my day. It may have to do with me not checking my phone as much because of no Facebook notifications, but either way, it's a plus. I heard Jason talking about getting better battery life after the Facebook app removal and had to let him know he is not alone. I find similar results on mine. I don't know how it is on iOS, but I know on Android, the Facebook app has always just it's never been exactly what anyone wants, right? Like they'll bring in a feature that you've been waiting for and it comes at the cost of something else or whatever the case may be. And I know I've found this, but I don't know, I don't know if it's just like what I want to see or what I expect to see, but good to know that somebody else out there, Tony, found the same thing. Better battery life when you remove the Facebook app.
Baby, better life too.
Could be.
Better real life.
I know for me personally, I check Facebook less now. And so I think there's probably a little bit of that too. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, 'cause I have a lot of family and friends all over the world on Facebook. That's like my only way I keep in touch with some of them. So guilt.
Well, coming up after the break, we will talk a little bit about the state of online music streaming. But first, let's take a minute to thank the second sponsor of this episode, Ring Video Doorbell. This episode is brought to you by the Ring Video Doorbell. We are all familiar with the sound of a doorbell. Ding dong. It means a package is being delivered or friends are coming over for dinner. It could also be the sound of someone planning to rob you. Over 95% of home break-ins happen during the day, and burglars almost always start by ringing your doorbell to see if someone is home before pillaging all of your worldly possessions. With the Ring Video Doorbell, you can see and talk to anyone at your door from anywhere in the world using your smartphone. Ring's advanced motion detection alerts you even if someone doesn't even ring the doorbell, so it's great for finding out when your kids are home or when they don't come home. With Ring Video Doorbell, you can talk to delivery people, keep an eye on your package. If someone tries to mess with it, you'll get an instant alert and an HD video of the whole thing. It's like having a neighbor keep an eye on your house 24/7. Now, we just installed our Ring Video Doorbell over the weekend. It passed the easy install test that I do at home, which is handing it over to my 10-year-old twin boys and having them install it for me. They set it up wirelessly in just about 10 minutes. That includes installing the app. It was super easy. And there's a lot of fighting involved in this, too, and they still installed it. Now, we use the rechargeable battery that you charge with the USB cable. That also comes in the box. It's a tiny level also comes in the box. That is endless fun. It makes it really easy to mount. Today, we're going to try to install it with our current doorbell wiring, just for laughs and, a little engineering lesson. Put your mind at ease and protect your home with the Video Doorbell. Time Magazine and USA Today named one of their top 10 gadgets of 2015. Go to ring.com/TNT for free expedited FedEx shipping. That's ring.com/TNT. With Ring, you are always home.
Yes, you are. I love my Ring Video Doorbell. It's awesome. My kids always push the button, and then wherever I happen to be, I'm talking to them suddenly.
Yeah, I could look right now and see what's going on if I wanted to.
All right, so we had a couple of stories today kind of appear kind of around music. Let's start off, first of all, with Apple Music. Off to a good start. More than 10 million paid subscribers to that service in over 100 countries. This according to a source to the Financial Times. And, that's a pretty big number in a short amount of time, right? Apple Music launched in June, had 6.5 million paid and 8.5 million free in October. Basically, it took Apple 6 months to reach 10 million. It took Spotify 6 years. Now, mind you, Spotify has been around, obviously, since, I guess, the days when streaming your music was a lot stranger. There was still this weird thing we did, like wanting to own things 6 years ago, wanting to own and buy digital albums and have them be our possession as opposed to paying for access to them. So the market has definitely changed, and Spotify is a huge reason for that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, are we impressed with the Apple Music numbers here?
I wonder if it's if people know they're paying for it. I know there's probably a certain amount of people that have signed up for the free month, and then Apple has their credit card and they're not even sure. But yeah, it's interesting. 25 million Spotify users. Leo and I were talking about this earlier, and we couldn't come up with that number. But yeah, I totally agree with you that Spotify was there when people weren't even really sure what streaming was. Mm-hmm. And now I think some people are like, okay, I understand Spotify, and Apple Music is right here on my phone. I had 3 months. I just might as well keep using it.
Mm-hmm. I actually was about to say the exact same thing because they had the free trial. You can sign up and you get to check it out for free. And I'm curious how many people just forgot to unsubscribe or even realize that they were still paying for it to begin with. I think that that Apple Music, to me personally, it's doing a little bit to differentiate itself from other services. I mean, obviously you have different artists that are going exclusively on Apple Music, either before these other streaming services or entirely on Apple Music. But at the same time, I think that that because they have that, they had all that hype and then the free signups, I think that we still might be in that time of people getting excited on the hype train and potentially forgetting that they signed up for it and will continue to pay for it.
Right. Now, related to this, according to Nielsen's year-end music report, streaming continued to grow strongly, 317 billion streams. That's double 2014, which was 164.5 billion. So obviously a huge year for the world of just streaming your tunes and not owning them. Album sales are down 6%, though they were down 11% the year before. So this is a better, like a lesser amount of a decline than it was a year before, yet streams are double. My brain is kind of exploding a little bit to try and kind of process all of that. But I wonder why that is. Like, why would there be a difference? Like that there would be more, twice as many streaming now, but yet ownership isn't quite falling off like even more rapidly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't think anyone else really knows. I mean, this is another statistic. You have vinyl is up 30%.
I know.
Who would know that? Like, who would expect that?
Vinyl sales have grown for 10 straight years. It was 0.9 million in 2005. I just got to pop up here. 1 second. It is now 11.9 million in 2015. Vinyl's kind of got this thing going right now. Yeah.
How do you listen to music,
wait a
Selena? Is it all vinyl all the time at your house?
No. I definitely have Spotify. I'm actually one of those folks. I pay for Spotify, and I love the Spotify Discover. And I just listen to things that my friends suggest me. So if anyone has good music suggestions, feel free to send them my way.
I have some good music suggestions. It's kind of a sad suggestion, but we would be remiss if we talked about music today and didn't pay tribute to David Bowie, who passed away over the weekend after an 18-month battle with cancer. As you can expect, people have been streaming David's catalog online. Spotify's noting a 2,700% spike in his streams since the news hit last night. And David Bowie, I mean, you know, you can take his incredible history of music and you know, obviously you have to respect just the power and force that he has been in the music industry. He's also a visionary. There's a 2002 New York Times article, and it's interesting to kind of get his take on the vision of future of music. He said back then, this is 2002, he said, "The absolute transformation of everything that we ever thought about music will take place within 10 years. Nothing's going to be able to stop it." He goes on to say, "Music itself is going to become like running water or electricity. You better be prepared for doing a lot of touring because that's really the only unique situation that's going to be left." And basically just kind of said that authorship, intellectual property, all these kind of things, making money off of selling an album outright up at the top for ridiculous amounts of money, which is the way it was 10 years ago, is going away in favor of kind of what we have now. So I don't know. He's a super smart guy, amazing music. He actually just released, have you heard his new album?
No. Not yet, but I can because I have Apple Music.
You can, exactly. It's streaming on all the services. Interesting facts about this. It's called Black Star. It released on his birthday, his 69th birthday, which was last Friday, January 8th. His producer, Tony Visconti, basically confirmed that this is the project they've been working on for the past year, knowing that David Bowie was going to pass away sometime within the next year and timing the release with it. And you listen to the album and you listen to some of the words, and I mean, it's like in a crazy, strange, but only way that David Bowie could do it and have it not be odd, but instead fascinating. It all relates with itself in really interesting ways. I highly recommend checking it out, even if you don't like his music, just for the fact that it exists the way that it does. Very interesting stuff. Anyways, hey, David Bowie fan? Selena? No?
I am. I actually, no, Labyrinth was transformative.
Oh, Labyrinth was so great.
Yeah, I really loved it. And I mean, my mom used to listen to David Bowie all the time. Yeah. So I have heard his new album, and the music video for Lazarus is just really, it's really heavy.
Yeah,
I mean, I think, yeah. And I think when the news broke yesterday, there were just so many people on Twitter and on the internet who really came together and were sharing stories about how David Bowie impacted their lives. And it was really tremendous to see how this icon touched so many lives and how many people were impacted. So yes, his album is absolutely worth a listen.
Yeah, it's interesting when something like this happens to see what happens in social network. I feel like that's like one of the better aspects of social networks, right? Where you have all of these people who probably don't know each other really coming together with this like united voice to kind of share all the great things. Because all you saw last night was like, here's a quote from this thing and it's amazing. Here's my favorite track. It's from this album. Here's the scene from this movie that he was in. And it was just like this amazing kind of combination. You saw this when Steve Jobs passed away. You saw, all these kind of marked moments where everyone on social networks kind of puts down the troll train for a little bit and just kind of comes together and does something cool like this.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. You're exactly right. It is the high point of social media because, it's like that's how you deal with grief. You're like, oh, I loved David Bowie. You loved David Bowie. Like, and you're like this community instantly of people who loved someone who is now gone. So.
There we go.
Well, TNT's fan of the day is Steve FM 2003 on Instagram, who sent in this picture with the hashtag #HowIWatchTNT. He's watched as well. He's showering.
Okay.
So it looks like he has his iPad in a Ziploc bag, which is one way to do it.
Good. Protect your iPad.
Thank you for watching anywhere. I'll just leave it at that.
Look,
So-
you gotta watch somewhere.
Right. I mean, yeah.
We don't all have there's only 24 hours in the day.
No, I know. And we're asking a lot of you. Like, it's a lot of time. So you do, I know, exactly. I watch while I'm folding laundry, showering, whatever you need to do. Just show us how you watch or listen to TNT, record a video or take a picture of yourself or your setup, post it on Instagram, Google+, Twitter, or Facebook, and use the hashtag #HowIWatchTNT, and we are going to find it.
I hope we're going to find it. All right. After the break, the White House proves it's still hip and cool by warming up to another social network. But first, let's take a minute to get hungry and thank the third sponsor of this episode. That's NatureBox. NatureBox is the AAA of snacks. We know because we have a cabinet in the back kitchen area that's filled with NatureBox, overflowing with NatureBox snacks. When hunger strikes, don't reach for that half-eaten bag of chips between the couch cushions. Yeah, please don't do that. It tastes like salt and sadness. Be prepared with smart and delicious snacks from NatureBox. And they're good. Like, they cover the gamut. Some of them sweet, some of them savory. You've even got some hummus in there. I was kind of going through the site and kind of listing some of my favorite. It's really easy. You go there and you start putting together your pack, and then you realize you got to get it. Jalapeno cashews, sriracha roasted cashews. Apparently I like cashews. Greek yogurt pretzels. Kung Pao pretzels. Now I like pretzels. There's so many here, and you just scroll through, and the names get you salivating, and then the pictures even more. And then when you taste it, it's that good. One of my favorites, the mini Belgian waffles. We've been getting those here lately. And anytime I see one of those, I actually grab the bag and I take it with me, and then no one else gets them because I eat them all. You can fill out your snack profile, get personalized recommendations based on your preferences. And the best part here is that NatureBox delivers right to your door. Spend more time getting things done and less time searching through the couch cushions. Please, if you're searching through the couch cushions for your chips, I don't know if I can help you. Oh, yes, I do. NatureBox. Fuel your game engine with healthy snacks. Visit naturebox.com/twit. Get 50% off your first box now. Garlic plantains, by the way. Black and white granola. I could just keep going, folks. Sweet kettle crunch.
Oh, that's
okay.
Salty and
Oh,
happy.
these are really good. Italian bistro pretzels. Okay, I'm going to stop. Slay your hunger dragon with a sword of nutrition. Go to NatureBox, naturebox.com/twit. Go there and get 50% off your first box of delicious personalized snacks sent direct to your doorstep. Have I convinced you yet?
Yes.
Go now. All right. I'll save those for later. Sorry, I have to. No social network is off limits to the tastemakers at the White House. Case in point, you can now find username White House, one word, inside Snapchat. Don't expect Barack Obama to send you time-sensitive selfies from around the world. No, here you'll get stories like what it's like to be behind the scenes at the upcoming State of the Union address. Sorry, I fell asleep. I don't know. What do you think? Is this how you use Snapchat masterfully? What do you think, Selena?
I'm honestly surprised it took them so long to get on Snapchat. I mean, we see the candidates, a lot of the candidates currently right now that are running for the nominations that are on Snapchat. You can kind of go behind the scenes or even, get messages from them directly. I think that, similar to a lot of the publishers who are on Snapchat that do a lot of the videos and live streaming from CES and from all of these other events that are happening. I think that it's a pretty smart move to reach the youth of the world via Snapchat. But yeah, I do think it's pretty interesting. I'm curious as to, how many of those teenagers or young people that are going to be tuning in to see the State of the Union. And then on top of that, all of the B-roll that's going to be going on in the background. I'm sure that they're probably going to make it pretty fun, though. I mean, the White House Instagram is really well done as well. So, the Obama administration has always just killed it with social media anyway from the very beginning of his campaign. So yeah, like I said, I'm actually kind of a little bit surprised it took so long to get on Snapchat, but I am following White House now.
Well, they beat me to it.
I would like to see White House on Peach. So
See,
the new
now
social
if White
network
House
Peach.
is really on top
Right,
of
then
things.
I can see how much they walked around. I can see what GIFs they like. I
Yeah.
can see what song they're listening to and other useless things.
They need like a White House social experiments lab of like the interns. Be like, all right, find the new up and coming social networks and just make sure we're everywhere and figure out how to use it effectively for our campaigns.
I'm sure someone else took White House on Peach already and is pretending to be the White House on Peach until they get
You know who
arrested.
has enough money to get it back?
Oh,
The White House.
that's stolen. That's a different app.
Oh. No, I'm getting my crazy social networks that I could never access because I'm on Android confused. All right.
But yes, it's stolen and Peach. It doesn't matter. They're all the same thing. Kind of a waste of time.
Okay. Until they're not. That's the
Right,
thing.
exactly. Mm-hmm. Well, Selena, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. What else are you working on? Did we talk about everything that you have in the pipeline, or is there anything else you can tell us about?
Likewise. I mean, I'm working on a couple of features. One of the things that I was writing today was about Intel and their conflict-free initiatives to make their entire portfolio from all the way through their supply chain conflict-free, so as not to help in DRC. That's an interesting story that's coming out. I have always on the diversity beat, working on a couple stories in that aspect as well. But I'm going to be on vacation for a week, so. Yeah, towards the end of January, I'll have some fun new features coming out.
Features like this is me on a beach. This is me eating Thai food.
My Snap story, I'm just going to embed my Snap story, save all of it, and just save it in a story.
Perfect. Your first week back to work will be like the easiest week ever.
Yes, here's my content from Thailand.
Well, I definitely look forward to the Intel story. I know I was going to mention this before when we were talking about Xiaomi. Bleak in our chat room suggested the Fair phone, which I guess is, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's an Android phone that all along, same thing, like from the mining all along, it is, it's conflict free, I guess. I think $500 for that. So. So because what we were saying, like, I don't want to go buy a Xiaomi phone because of their labor practices, but we don't really know about any phones that we're using.
It's very true.
For the Fair phone.
It's very true.
So thanks.
The case could be made for pretty much most phones that we probably have in our pockets. To be honest.
Yes. Selena, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Selena
thank you.
is at Selena Larson on Twitter, and all her stories can be found at thedailyhawk.com. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Take care, Selena. Have a great vacation.
Thanks. Take it
We'll
easy.
see you later.
Bye-bye.
Tomorrow's guest will be the infamous or famous, depending on who you are, Scott Johnson of the Frog Pants Studio. TNT records live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, 12 a.m. UTC at twit.tv/live. You can always be a part of the show by emailing us. Please do. We love your emails. And I'm asking you, please. I'm talking to you. Send us an email. TNT@twit.tv. Yes, you. TNT@twit.tv. Or leave us a short voicemail, 260-TNT show. You can also hit us up on Twitter at Tech News Today TV. There we go.
And join our chat room like
Yeah.
Bleak. Yeah, we love to have people in the chat room. We love to see your opinions. So you can find that at twit.tv too. And don't forget to subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, or your favorite podcast catcher. If you have an Echo, you can listen to us there too. You can. Cool. All the ways to subscribe are on our show page at twit.tv/TNT. And if you want to get in touch with us, hit us up on Twitter. I am at Megan Morrone.
And I am Jason Howell. That's all we got. Thanks for talking tech with us, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.